The arrival of the Galactic Council. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council was a sight to behold. Stars twinkled in the distance outside the enormous windows, casting shimmering light across the polished floors. The chamber was vast, filled with representatives from various alien species, each more unusual than the last. Some had shimmering skin that changed colors, while others were towering figures with multiple limbs. They all shared one common goal: to discuss the increasingly concerning presence of humans. At the center of this gathering sat Counselor Threx, a tall, serpentine being with glittering scales. He looked stern as he gazed at the council members around him. "We must discuss the threat posed by the humans of Earth," he said in a voice that echoed through the hall. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the room. "We have ignored them for too long," chimed in Counselor Finna, a small, fluffy creature with large eyes. "Their advancements in technology are accelerating rapidly. They are no longer the primitive species we once thought they were." The council had always viewed humans as an insignificant race, struggling to survive on a planet plagued by disasters and pollution. But recent reports indicated that humans were on the brink of leaving their deadly world. Rumors circulated that they had constructed a massive spaceship capable of interstellar travel. This news sent ripples of concern through the Galactic Council. Counselor Threx raised his hand to silence the chatter. "We must act quickly. If humans leave Earth, they could pose a significant threat to our safety. We need to gather more information about their intentions." Another council member, a tall being named Zorek, frowned. "But how do we learn more about them? They are unpredictable and aggressive. Sending a reconnaissance team could put us in danger." The debate intensified, with voices rising in excitement and fear. Some members argued for immediate action to prevent human expansion, while others believed it was best to observe from a distance. The council was divided, with no clear solution in sight. "Perhaps we should consider a diplomatic approach," suggested Lyra, a humanoid with delicate features and blue skin. "We could invite humans to join the Galactic Council. If we understand them better, we may find common ground instead of fear." "Invite them," Zorek scoffed. "They are a death world species. They thrive in danger and chaos. How can we trust them?" The council erupted in a flurry of discussions, with opinions flying back and forth. Some argued that humans could be allies, while others believed they were a threat too great to ignore. As the debate raged on, Counselor Threx felt a wave of frustration wash over him. He knew that time was running out. Meanwhile, far away on Earth, a group of humans was preparing for their historic journey. Alex, a young engineer, stood in the control room of their colossal spaceship. Excitement filled the air as the countdown clock ticked down to launch. The ship, named Hope, was their last chance to escape a dying planet and explore new worlds. 5, 4, 3, echoed the voice of the chief commander. Alex felt his heart race as he looked around at his fellow crew members. They were a diverse group, united by a common dream. They had faced countless challenges on Earth, from wars to environmental disasters, but they had never given up. Today, they would take their fate into their own hands. As the countdown reached 0, the engines roared to life, shaking the ground beneath them. A brilliant light engulfed the ship, and in an instant, Hope shot into the sky, leaving Earth behind. The crew cheered, their voices mingling with the sound of the engines. Back in the Galactic Council chamber, the debate continued. The council had decided to send a small team to observe the humans. They wanted to know what kind of creatures could survive on a death world, and what their intentions were as they ventured into the cosmos. "We will deploy a reconnaissance ship to monitor their movements," Counselor Threx announced. "We need to know if they are a threat, or if we can find a way to coexist." The council members nodded in agreement, their faces serious. They understood that the next steps would be crucial for the galaxy. The fate of the humans and the council's safety depended on how they handled the situation. As the council wrapped up the meeting, a sense of urgency hung in the air. The humans had embarked on their journey, and the Galactic Council had decided to act. The tension was palpable as everyone prepared for the unknown. Would the humans prove to be a dangerous enemy, or would they become valuable allies in the galaxy? In the depths of space, the Hope sailed onward, its crew unaware of the eyes watching from afar. With each passing moment, the story of humans and aliens was just beginning to unfold. The Council would soon discover that the humans of Earth were far more complex than they had ever imagined. The question remained, how would they respond to the arrival of humanity in their midst? A race against time. As the Hope surged through the stars, excitement filled the crew's hearts. They were venturing into the unknown, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Captain Sarah, a determined leader with a fierce spirit, stood at the helm, guiding the ship toward their destination. "Prepare for warp drive," she commanded, her voice steadied despite the thrill of the moment. The crew members moved swiftly, double-checking their instruments and ensuring everything was in place. They were leaving behind their old world, filled with dangers and uncertainties, and stepping into a future full of promise. Meanwhile, on the Galactic Council ship, a sleek craft known as the Observer, a team of alien scouts was preparing for their own journey. Counselor Thrext had selected a group of the best reconnaissance officers to monitor the humans. The atmosphere on the Observer was tense but focused. "Remember, our mission is to gather information," Threx reminded them. "We need to learn about their technology, their capabilities, and whether they pose a threat to the galaxy." One of the scouts, a creature named Vex, nodded eagerly. He was known for his sharp instincts and keen observational skills. "We will find out what makes humans tick. If they can survive on a death world, they must be formidable." As the two ships moved through space, the contrast between the humans and the aliens became evident. The crew of the Hope was filled with dreams of exploration and adventure, while the Council members aboard the Observer were cautious and calculating, driven by fear of the unknown. Back on the Hope, Sarah and Alex gathered the crew in the main room. It was time for a meeting. "Everyone, listen up," Sarah began, her tone serious. "We are entering uncharted territory. We have no idea what we will encounter out there. We must stick together and rely on each other." Alex stepped forward, his voice steady. "We've faced countless challenges on Earth. We've fought through wars, natural disasters, and political unrest. We are strong and resourceful. Let's use that strength to make our mark in the galaxy." The crew nodded, their faces filled with determination. They knew the journey ahead would not be easy, but they were ready to face it head-on. As the Hope entered a new star system, the crew looked out the windows in awe. Planets of various colors spun in orbit around a bright sun. Some were barren and desolate, while others were lush and green. "Where should we go first?" asked Mia, the ship's navigator, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "Let's check out that blue planet," suggested Alex, pointing to a vibrant world teeming with water and life. "It looks promising." Sarah agreed, and they adjusted their course. As they approached the planet, they activated the ship's scanning systems. Data filled the screens, revealing information about the planet's atmosphere and surface conditions. "Life signs detected," Mia exclaimed, her voice tinged with excitement. "There are multiple life forms in the oceans and on land. We should prepare for contact." While the humans prepared for their first encounter with alien life, the Observer had arrived in the same star system, hiding in the shadows of an asteroid field. The aliens observed the humans from a distance, their ship cloaked to avoid detection. Counselor Threx watched intently as the humans descended toward the blue planet. They are approaching a world rich in resources. If they succeed in establishing a presence here, it could change everything. Vex activated the ship's monitoring devices, eager to gather as much information as possible. They appear to be landing near a large body of water. This is significant. First contact. As dawn broke over the beautiful blue planet, the crew of the Hope awoke to the sound of gentle waves lapping against the shore. The morning sun painted the sky in brilliant hues of orange and pink, The atmosphere was filled with a sense of excitement and wonder, but beneath it lay a thread of tension. The crew knew they were not alone. Captain Sarah gathered everyone for breakfast at their makeshift camp. The aroma of ration packs filled the air as they prepared to discuss their next steps. "All right, team," she said, her voice strong. "Today, we focus on exploring further inland. We need to gather more data about this world and its inhabitants." Mia, the ship's navigator, looked up from her food, her eyes shining with curiosity. "I think we should head toward those mountains in the distance. They might have valuable resources or even signs of life." Alex nodded in agreement. "Let's take the rover and set off. We'll divide into 2 groups. One will stay here to continue collecting samples, and the other will explore the mountains. This way, we can cover more ground." After breakfast, the crew divided into their assigned groups. Sarah, Alex, and Mia climbed into the rover, while the rest stayed behind, collecting samples and setting up communication equipment. With excitement in their hearts, they drove toward the mountains, eager for what they might find. As they ventured deeper into the planet, the landscape transformed. The sandy beach gave way to lush forests, with towering trees and vibrant plants. The air was filled with the sounds of unfamiliar creatures, chirping and rustling among the leaves. "This place is incredible," Alex exclaimed, looking out the window in awe. "It feels alive." Suddenly, they heard a loud rustling noise coming from the bushes. The crew exchanged nervous glances, instinctively tensing. "What was that?" Mia whispered, her eyes wide. "I don't know," Sarah replied, gripping the steering wheel tightly. "But we should be careful." The rover came to a stop, and the crew cautiously stepped out, ready for anything. Just then, a group of strange creatures emerged from the underbrush. They were small, furry beings with large eyes and colorful fur, each one unlike anything the crew had seen on Earth. "Are they friendly?" Maya asked, her voice trembling slightly. The creatures stared back, their large eyes blinking curiously. Sarah knelt down, trying to appear less threatening. "Hello, little ones. We come in peace." To their surprise, one of the creatures approached, sniffing the air cautiously. It seemed to sense the crew's intentions and slowly began to inch closer. The others followed, their curiosity piqued. Just then, a loud rumble echoed through the air, and the ground shook beneath their feet. The creatures scattered in fear, darting back into the safety of the bushes. Sarah quickly turned toward the sound, her heart racing. In the distance, they saw a massive shadow moving across the landscape. It was a giant alien ship, similar in design to the Observer. The ship hovered silently, its dark hull contrasting sharply with the bright sky. Panic gripped the crew as they realized they were being watched. "We need to get back to the rover," Sarah shouted. Now, they rushed back to the rover, adrenaline pumping through their veins. As they drove away, they could see the giant ship descending toward the area where they had just been. The crew could only guess what was happening. Meanwhile, on the Observer, Counselor Threx was monitoring the situation closely. He had been observing the humans since their arrival and was now witnessing their first contact with native life. "Look at them," Threx said, his voice laced with tension. "They are brave but reckless. They could bring chaos to the galaxy." Vex, the keen scout, nodded thoughtfully. "They are resourceful creatures, but they do not know the dangers of the universe. If we do not intervene, they may put themselves in harm's way." Threx pondered for a moment. "We cannot reveal ourselves yet. We need more information. Let's continue to observe and see what they do next." Back on the blue planet, the crew of the Hope returned to their camp, shaken but determined. They gathered around a holographic projector, displaying the images they had collected from the mountain region. "Okay, everyone, let's regroup," Sarah said, trying to mask her concern. "We need to discuss what just happened and what our next steps should be." The Galactic Council's decision. As the night settled over the blue planet, a quiet tension enveloped the crew of the Hope. They had shared laughter and stories, but their thoughts were heavy with uncertainty. They felt they were on the edge of a monumental discovery, yet the shadow of the alien ship loomed in their minds. Meanwhile, aboard the Observer, the Galactic Council convened in a grand chamber. The room was filled with various alien species, each representing different worlds across the galaxy. The air buzzed with a mixture of anticipation and concern as Counselor Threx stood before them. "Fellow counselors," Threx began, his voice echoing through the chamber. "We are faced with a unique situation. The humans from the Blue Planet have arrived in our galaxy, and they possess a spirit of exploration that is both admirable and alarming." Counselor Vex, a tall figure with elongated limbs and shimmering scales, interjected. "They have already made contact with the native species of that planet. We must act swiftly to assess the potential threat they pose." "Threat?" Threx countered, a hint of frustration in his voice. "We should not dismiss them so quickly. They may be a valuable ally if we choose to engage them properly. We must understand their intentions before we decide our course of action." Another counselor, a stern-faced being with dark, armored skin, chimed in. "What if they are hostile? Their technology may surpass ours in ways we cannot predict. They could disrupt the balance of power in the galaxy." The room filled with murmurs as the counselors debated the merits and risks of engaging with the humans. Some argued for immediate contact, believing it was the only way to ensure peace, while others insisted on remaining hidden until more information was gathered. Finally, Threx raised his hand for silence. "We cannot ignore their presence. Instead, we will send a diplomatic envoy to make first contact. We must approach them with caution, but also with respect. It is crucial that we convey our intentions clearly." Counselor Vex leaned forward. "What if they refuse our overtures? We could expose ourselves to unnecessary danger." "I suggest we send a scout first," Threx replied. "One who can observe and report back before we commit to full contact. We need to understand their capabilities and their reactions to our presence." The counselors nodded in agreement, and Threx assigned Vex to lead the scout mission. "You will travel to the planet, gather intelligence, and assess the situation with the humans. We need to know if they can be trusted." As Vex prepared to leave, he felt a mix of excitement and trepidation. He knew that this mission could set the course for a new chapter in their galaxy. The fates of the humans and his people rested in his hands. Back on the planet, the crew of the Hope remained unaware of the impending visit from the Galactic Council. They continued their routine of exploration, taking samples and documenting their findings. Sarah led a team to gather more data on the indigenous species they had encountered earlier, hoping to learn more about their behavior and intelligence. "I think we should set up some cameras to monitor their activity," Mia suggested, pointing to the area where the small furry creatures had appeared. "If we can understand their patterns, we might learn how to communicate with them." "Great idea," Sarah replied, her eyes brightening. "Let's also see if we can find more of them. They may hold valuable knowledge about this world." As they worked, a sudden vibration surged through the ground beneath them. Startled, the crew exchanged worried glances. They instinctively turned toward the mountains, where they had last seen the alien ship. "Do you think it's them?" Alex asked, fear creeping into his voice. Vex's eyes lit up with intrigue. "What do you propose?" "We could embark on a mission together," Sarah suggested. "We can explore a nearby planet, gather data, and share our findings. It could serve as a demonstration of our intentions. We can show you that we seek cooperation, not conflict." Vex considered this proposal carefully. "That is an intriguing idea, but I must discuss it with the Council. They may not agree to such an expedition without further evidence of your capabilities." "We understand," Sarah replied, a sense of determination washing over her. "But please, allow us to show you who we are. We can prove our worth." After a moment of silence, Vex finally nodded. "Very well. I will relay your offer to the Council. If they agree, we will embark on this mission together. But be warned, this mission will not be without challenges. The Council will be watching closely. Excitement bubbled among the crew as they discussed their plans. This was their chance to demonstrate humanity's potential as allies. The weight of the moment was heavy, but they were ready to rise to the occasion. As they prepared to leave, Vex looked at each of them with newfound respect. "You have shown courage and conviction. I hope you can live up to your words." With that, they made their way back to the Hope, the hum of anticipation filling the air. Sarah felt a renewed sense of purpose as they entered the ship. This was their opportunity to connect with the galaxy and prove themselves as explorers. Days passed, and the crew worked tirelessly to prepare for their potential mission with the Galactic Council. They gathered supplies, updated their equipment, and strategized their approach. Each crew member played a vital role, contributing their skills to ensure the success of the mission. Finally, the day arrived when Vex returned with news from the Galactic Council. The atmosphere in the ship was charged with excitement as he entered the Hope. "The Council has agreed to your proposal," Vex announced, a rare smile breaking across his face. "You will join me on an exploratory mission to the planet known as Synthar 7. It is uninhabited, but it is rich in resources and knowledge. You will have the opportunity to demonstrate your capabilities." Cheers erupted among the crew as they celebrated the news. Sarah's heart swelled with pride and determination. They were about to embark on a journey that could change everything. As they prepared for departure, Sarah reflected on how far they had come. From the initial fears of the alien ship to standing side by side with Vex, a representative of the Galactic Council, they had taken a monumental step into the unknown. With engines humming and spirits high, the Hope lifted off, leaving the familiar landscape of their planet behind. The stars beckoned them forward, and Sarah felt a sense of excitement building within her. They were no longer just explorers of their world. They were now part of a larger narrative, one that could shape the future of the galaxy. As they soared through space, the crew of the Hope felt a sense of unity and purpose. They were not just a crew. They were ambassadors of humanity. The journey ahead was filled with uncertainty, but together they would navigate the challenges that lay before them, determined to prove their worth in the vast expanse of the galaxy. The showdown of wills. The sun rose over Synthar 7, casting a warm glow on the vibrant landscape. The crew of the Hope awakened with renewed energy, excited to continue their exploration. They gathered around the morning fire, discussing their plans for the day. "Today, we should explore further into the mountain range to the east," Sarah suggested, glancing at the map displayed on her tablet. There could be more species and resources waiting to be discovered. Vex, who had been observing the surroundings, nodded in agreement. "The mountains hold many secrets. I sense strong vibrations coming from that direction. We may find something extraordinary." The crew packed their gear and set off, their hearts filled with anticipation. As they trekked through the lush forests, the sounds of Synthar 7 enveloped them, a symphony of rustling leaves, chirping creatures, and distant calls. After several hours of hiking, they reached the base of the mountains. The towering peaks loomed above them, glistening with strange minerals. As they began their ascent, Sarah felt a sense of urgency. Something was waiting for them, hidden in the mountain's depths. As they climbed higher, the atmosphere shifted. The air became thick, and a low rumble echoed through the rocks. Vex paused, his skin glowing with concern. "We need to be cautious. The vibrations are becoming unstable." "What do you mean?" Sarah asked, glancing around. "The energy from within the mountain is powerful," Vex explained. "We must tread lightly." They continued their ascent, but soon they reached a narrow ledge that overlooked a vast cavern. The sight took their breath away. Bioluminescent plants illuminated the cave walls, casting an otherworldly glow over everything. In the center, a massive crystalline structure pulsated with energy, sending out waves of light and sound. "Wow," Alex breathed, mesmerized. "What is that?" Vex stepped closer, his expression serious. "This is a heart of Synthar 7. It contains the essence of the planet, its energy and life force." It's sacred to the native species. Just as they began to comprehend the significance of their discovery, the ground shook violently. Rocks crumbled, and the cavern trembled. Sarah struggled to maintain her balance as fear surged through her. "Get back," she shouted, urging her crew away from the edge. Suddenly, a deep roar erupted from the depths of the cavern. A creature emerged from the shadows, massive, reptilian, and covered in scales that shimmered like gemstones. Its eyes glowed with fury, and it locked onto the crew with menacing intent. "It's protecting the heart," Vex exclaimed, his voice urgent. "We need to retreat." But the creature lunged forward, blocking their escape. Sarah felt her heart race as it towered over them, its breath hot and heavy. "Stay calm," she instructed her crew, holding her ground. "We can't fight it. We need to show it we mean no harm." With every ounce of courage, Sarah stepped forward, raising her hands slowly to indicate peace. "We are explorers, not enemies. We come in peace." The creature hesitated, its glowing eyes narrowing as it observed her. "Sarah, be careful," Alex warned, fear creeping into his voice. Vex joined her, standing beside Sarah. "This creature is intelligent. It will understand our intentions if we remain calm." As the tension hung thick in the air, the creature tilted its head, contemplating their presence. Sarah took a deep breath, sensing the creature's hesitance. "We respect this land. We want to learn, not to take." The creature snorted, releasing a cloud of vapor into the air. It shifted slightly, allowing the crew a glimpse of the crystal heart behind it. Suddenly, Sarah remembered the beetle they had encountered earlier. "Let's try to communicate with it the way we did with the beetle," she whispered to Vex. Vex nodded, understanding her idea. They both began to hum softly, creating a rhythm that resonated with the creature's movements. The crew joined in, forming a chorus of sounds that echoed throughout the cavern. Gradually, the creature lowered its massive head, intrigued by the humans' efforts. The vibrations from their voices reached deep within the cavern, mingling with the pulsating energy of the heart. The atmosphere shifted as the creature's demeanor softened. Its eyes brightened, and the tension in the air began to dissipate. "Keep going," Sarah encouraged, her heart swelling with hope. "We can connect with it." As the crew continued to hum, the creature let out a low rumble, a sound that resonated with their melody. It took a step back, revealing the path to the crystal heart. "This is working," Alex exclaimed, a mixture of excitement and disbelief in his voice.